This is the number one thinking technique that will free you in life. I swear to God, this is so important. Now, this is not a default way of thinking. You have to actually create this thinking in your own mind. And once this is created by doing it enough times, it'll become your default way of thinking, and then you just do it automatically. And then you can get a lot smarter and do a lot more productive things. So what this is removing the story from your life. Now, everyone at all times has a story going on in their mind. My name's Grant, I'm making a TikTok, I hope people like me, I'm gonna make this video, blah, blah, blah. There's fucking stories going on in everybody's head. My name's Sarah, I'm in high school, I'm a really popular cheerleader, I have all my friends and I don't wanna make anybody dislike. We all have stories, right? So that story that we tell ourselves clouds our thinking. This is why that when someone comes to you for advice, you can give them really good advice, but you can't give yourself advice. It's because when someone else tells you something, you can take their story out of it because you're not in their story. But when you need your own advice, you can't take yourself out of the story yet. And this is how you end up being your own therapist. This is why a therapist is so valuable to people, because they can't take themselves out of their own story. If you knew how to do this, you really wouldn't need a therapist, right? I'm my own therapist. I've never gone to a therapist in my life. Nothing against therapists at all. I'm not against them at all. I'm just saying this is a way to think that you can kind of avoid that. So here's what you do. Let's say you're in a relationship and it's not working out. And you're like, well, he treats me really bad. He never texts me. He ignores me all the time, but I just love him so much. So the story of you loving this guy and being caught in the story is what's clouding you. Because let's say you go to a friend and you say this, hey, I love this guy, but he's not texting me, he's treating me like crap, he doesn't show me to anybody, blah, blah, blah. Now, what you have to do is the story that you're telling yourself in your head, you have to be like, okay, if somebody else was telling me this thing, or if somebody else was in this situation, what would I tell them? So then you take yourself out of it. Okay, so there's a girl talking to me. She's saying, hey, I really love this guy, but he treats me horribly, he doesn't do this, he's an asshole, I can't do it. What would I tell that person? Well, I would say, hey, look, you should probably leave the relationship because you're not being appreciated and you're not happy in it. There's the advice. But what if you tell that person, what are they going to say? Oh, but I love him, but I da-da-da-da. The story comes back. So the truth is, you're not happy in that relationship, you should probably leave. The answer is really straightforward. But people can't see these answers because they're clouded by their story. And this goes for everything in life. This is how you give yourself advice. Let's say you're stuck in college. You're 21 years old, right? You don't know what to do in your life. You're stressed out because you don't know, your parents don't have the answers. You don't know what to do. Now, create a fake person and what would you tell them? Hey, there's a 21-year-old. He doesn't really know what to do with his life. His parents don't help him. What would I tell this guy? I would say, hey, bro, you're super young. Go start trying shit out because you have to discover yourself, right? You got to figure out what you like to figure that out. So once you learn how to become objective with your thinking and taking your own story out of things, you can actually see a lot more clearly. So once you learn how to take the story out of your own life, it gets a lot easier.